Alright, well. Selamat siang semuanya. Selamat datang kembali di acara Conference LP Expo 2025. Sebelumnya untuk tadi kan mungkin habis makan agak.
So maybe after lunch, now you're starting a little bit lethargic. So could I have a huge round of applause for LEP Conference and Expo 2025? And anybody who's still sitting in the back, please fill up the front row.
Gimana makannya?
Was it good? Did not get any lunch? So now we will hear a lot of discussions and presentations from well-known people. So please pay attention and focus on this session.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back at the Royal Ballroom, the Spring Club Sumarakon on our event, the 10th Anniversary LEP Expo and Conference 2025. We hope you had a refreshing break, and now that we're recharged and ready, let's dive back into today's agenda with renewed energy and focus.
Setelah ini kita akan melanjutkan dengan sebuah.
We will continue with a topic that is a cross-section between food, ethics, and this is a very relevant topic, especially for Indonesia, which is halal certification in the livestock industry and its processing. As a country with one of the largest Muslim population in the world, halalness in the supply chain is not just a matter of religion, but is also a crucial factor in building consumer trust and opening up opportunities for international trade. Today, we have the opportunity to discuss the topic from global standard and local standards, of course, from experts in their field. We will be inviting our first panelist, who is the head of subdirectorate for functionary position for halal product supervision at BPJPH from Ministry of Religious Affairs. Let us welcome the head of the subdirectorate for functionary halal product oversight, Mr. Agus. So, excuse me, but Yogi is here. He also has another incredible speaker. He has led various strategic visions to Gofindo, including the branch of Bandung and product commercialization, business and investment feasibility. He is the head of the unit for Halal, the Halal unit at Gofindo, which is very relevant for today. Let's welcome the head of the Halal unit at Gofindo, Mr. Agus Suryanto.
Saatnya kita sambut sosok yang akan membantu.
And to help us support the discussion, they are professional, very much experienced. And will be the moderator for discussion is the director from IPB and coordinator of MUI-LPPOM, and at the national level, they're also the chairperson of the technical committee in World Halal Food Council with a strong academic background, and not just IPB. They have a master's and their PhD in biochemistry from University of Queensland, Australia. They've dedicated themselves in the academia and the halal sector. Let's welcome our moderator for today, the director of our Halal Center from IPB, Professor Dr. Kashmir Shamsu. Round of applause, please. To to our panelists and to experts. So the discussion panel will be guided by moderator to Professor Dr. Kaswar Samju. The floor is yours. God's peace and mercy upon us all.
Welcome to the Livestock Export Program, Meat and Livestock Australia, LEPMEA Expo and Conference 2025. So I was told by the committee that because the majority of the participants coming from Indonesia, so the presentation will be in Bahasa Indonesia, but you are free to ask the question in English or even in Bahasa Indonesia if you like to. Okay, Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu yang saya hormati.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, welcome to this panel discussion. So this is about housification in ruminant abattoir as part of the MLA LEP Expo and Conference 2025. Thanks be to God Almighty that we can come together to discuss this topic, and we'll be talking about the challenges and opportunities. So we have 3 topics and 3 speakers, which is the development of monitoring and evaluation in ruminant slaughterhouse in Asia, delivered by Mr. Yogi Pribadi. He's the sub-director for Halal oversight officers, and we will also be talking about critical control points in ruminant abattoir and regular halal certification from Ms. Agus Suryanto, head of Halal Unit from Sukovindo. Welcome to Pak Agus Suryanto and Pak Yogi. And finally, we have lessons learned from technical support programs. We have the head of the head of the Halal Center at IBB University. We'll have 1 hour to discuss the 3 topics. Let's begin with the first presentation from Mr. Yogi Pribadi. So the floor is yours. And organizers, please show his slides. Mr. Yogi Pribadi completed his bachelor's in IT from University of Indonesia and his master's degree in computers from Nusa Mandiri, with his competency in managing information technology and human resources. He's now the head of subdirector for functional positions development for Halal product supervisors. So you have 10 minutes, maximum 15 minutes. Let's welcome Mr. Yogi Pribadi. God's peace and mercy upon us all. It is an honor for me to be here before all of you as people working in the halal industry in this room. This is the first opportunity that I have had to be before all of you, and to be candid, I've only joined the agency for 6 months since it's become separate of the Ministry of Religious Affairs. It is now a standalone non-ministerial government agency. So with regard to development of halal certification for animal slaughterhouses in Indonesia, at the moment, there are approximately 532 abattoirs registered in Indonesia. There's only 370 that has a halal certification, so only 54% of abattoirs, registered abattoirs with the Ministry of Agriculture, but only 54% have the halal certification. The obligation to have halal certification for products that are circulated and traded, products that are derived from private ingredients are exempt from halal certification. These products, as referred to above, must be labeled as non-halal. So with regards to halal certified obligations in Indonesia, these are prohibited or haram products does not need halal certification, but it does not preclude that the non-halal products are allowed to be circulated, but it has to be labeled as non-halal. There are stages. There are phases for halal certificate. It's very important for imports of products from overseas. There's a relaxation of obligation for halal certification for products coming from overseas. So the latest is 17 October 2026, considering that there must be mutual recognition of halal certification because there are many many businesses that have not registered with the agency, so we have to accelerate the growth of these overseas halal businesses for the recognition of the halal certificates through the agency in order to prepare themselves for October 7, 2023, that all imported products circulating in Indonesia must have the halal certification. This is regulated in the government regulation number 42 of 2024. So not long after, so prior to the agency became a standalone agency under the president, this regulation was issued, including the phasing of the obligation for halal certification for all products circulating in Indonesia. So throughout these phases, we provide facilitation for businesses and also to other stakeholders and the community and the public. We talk about how this is conducive for the Indonesian economy. This is the ecosystem for the administration of halal products in Indonesia. So here we have two schemes for halal certification. First is a self-declaration pathway for micro and small, medium, small enterprises. Second, for medium to large enterprises. For importers of beef from Australia, that would be part of the regular scheme, so the one on the bottom. And there's an inspection of a halal inspection. We have also one of the 84 inspection agencies in Indonesia. So we have Pak Agus from Sukopindo. When it comes to the fatwa, this is established by the MUI Fatwa Commission, and then we issue the halal certificate. So we are here as a regulator, handling the sequences of activities in the administration of halal product guarantee. So the stakeholders and partners include the halal oversight agency and halal businesses. There's a different process. So for small businesses, it's for simple products, simple production processes, and the inspection process is done by a facilitator for halal products. And we have the Fatwa Committee that establishes its halalness, and that's by decree from the Minister of Religious Affairs. So with regards to abattoirs for ruminants and poultry, so essentially, based on the declaration of the head of the BPJPH, these are guidelines for implementation of halal product assurance system for the slaughter of ruminants and poultry. There are two processes for veterinary animals or ruminants and poultry. So there are two different slaughterhouses that must be halal certified, and many of the abattoirs are managed by local governments. Meanwhile, for the poultry slaughterhouses are mostly operated by the private sector. So this is the halal certificate issued by the Halal Product Assurance Agencies or BPJPH. So there are 97,000 halal certificates issued along the regular pathway. So for the self-declared halal certificate, we have almost 3 million products that have the self-declared halal certificates. So with a halal certificate, within the certificate that may contain many products. It's not like a circulation permission from the equivalent of our Food and Drug Administration. So with a halal certificate, one certificate can consist of various products. So it can consist of many varieties of products. As I said earlier, the total number of abattoirs there are 573 that are certified. Totally around 54% is halal certified. This is the registration. So as importers of beef from Australia, to ensure that your product can enter Indonesia, so the beef that you're importing must have the overseas halal label from the overseas agencies that are working in cooperation, where there is mutually recognized halal certificates with the Halal Product Assurance Agency, and it has to be registered through what we call the Halal application system. With regard to the tariff and we have 800,000 in value for halal certificates, and the halal certificate is valid according to the time period of where there is mutual recognition. The halal certificate would be recognized for according to the validity of them. There are 8 agencies that have mutual recognition assurance, and this is within the scope of animal slaughter, including in Australia. So you have 3 more minutes. We have very limited time. You have 3 more minutes, sir. So this is the process for registration of foreign halal certificate for products being imported into Indonesia. These are foreign halal certificates. These are overseas businesses that have applied for the halal certificate. This is in Australia. We have the Australian Halal Authority, the Australian Halal Development, and halal transaction. So this isn't just from Australia. We have 8 from Australia, 7 amongst them within the scope of animal slaughter. This is oversight. I am the mentor for functional supervision, halal product supervisors, and this includes slaughter. You can see number 5 with location, location, place of slaughter, storage, and serving of the halal. So separation of product and non-halal products. So I think that's all from me regarding the halal certification, especially specifically for slaughter services in Indonesia. Thank you, God's peace and mercy upon us all. Thank you, Pak Yogi, for delivering information about the halal process for abattoirs. Now we go to Mr. Agus Suryanto, who came from engineering at Buana, master's degree from University of Indonesia, and is working as a head of the HAL unit for Sukovindo. The floor is yours. You have about 10 minutes, Pak Agus.
Allow me to stand up because I cannot read the slides properly. Ladies and gentlemen, Pak Yogi already mentioned about I will skip some of my slides because Pak Yogi had already discussed this earlier. So I have to show this because we have representatives from the overseas because there was an issue that our certificate in Indonesia is considered as trade barrier, but I need to emphasize that halal is actually related to religious issues, and we want to protect our people so that they can practice their religious worship. So this is not tariff protection, this is protection of human rights. As for the regulations, I would like to quote under the guideline number 77 from 2023 on the abattoir, and also about staging of the obligation for results of slaughter and abattoir. That's divided into the registration number of the company. As for the medium to large, it's already 2024. For overseas product, it's from 2024 now. So for those using the it's already mentioned earlier, the difference. I would like to inform you that among the three pictures above, the one in the middle are the halal part, the statement from the from the MUI. The halal certificate has the Garuda logo in the middle, and the label is like a mosque dome, and the validity of the certificate in Indonesia, quote unquote, is for life. With if I say it, they will be angry at me. So this is valid until it is issued, until there are changes. For slaughterhouse or abattoir, if they slaughter cattle every day, they don't need to update it. But then if they also slaughter other animals rather than cattle, then they need to update their certificate. But overseas, like Australia, the US, Omaha, or AHDA or AHA in Australia, I think there is a validity time between 1 to 3 years. And also there is also an inspection per shipment from the halal agency, and this is about the staging. to use, if you use Sukofindo, you have to use Sukofindo, C Halal application. We have an apps, but it's not allowed to be used. So we need to do this with a one-door policy. In staging, first is you register, and after it is registered, you pay. Of course, before you pay, but there will be a document checking. After that, it will be ordered, and after that, we will bring it to the MUI, and then the certificate, the halal certificate, will be issued. And all is using DC Halal apps because it is already digitalized. So, and as for the requirements, there will be mentioned in the dashboard as so. For the abattoir, then you will need to have the halal slaughter person. So now it is called Kang Jalal or halal slaughter person. So that's the requirements, and this is an example of application, and this is the example of the Indonesian certificate, and this is important for the audit scheme in the Abattoir. MUI is still required witness from MUI to witness the slaughtering process. So don't be angry at us when you have to pay for MUI person to come to witness it, because without that, the Fatwa Commission will delay the issuance, and hopefully the fee is affordable. And then we have the halal supervisor. He ensures that everything is done to following the halal requirements, and this is the quality halal quality system, which is regulated by the Halal Assurance Organizing Body, or BPJH. So, and if you use the new C Halal, some of the contents of the quality assurance is already there, so you just need to and upload some documents. And this is also important because the theme is critical points from the beginning, critical points in the ruminant abattoir. So the livestock must be still alive, healthy. It is not contaminated by feed which contains pork. And as for the equipment, even the length of the knife is regulated, and the container that will be used for the processing must not be made of wood and are not toxic and non-corrosive. It should be stainless steel or galvanized metal. It must be cleaned. If it is najis, it should be cleaned, cleansed according to Islamic law. And this is only for the halal, and it is not only used for halal animal and not used for non-halal animals. As for the stuff, at least there is one halal slaughter, and in terms of abattoir location, it must be separated from non-halal slaughterhouses or farms. And if they are closed, then you have to separate them with at least a 3-meter high wall, and it needs to be cleansed according to Islamic law, not located in areas prone to flooding, polluted by smoke, and the facilities or the building, there must be there is the difference between when it's halal and halal, and before or during pre-slaughter, the transport equipment is not used to transport pigs. So it should be only for halal animals, and it should be in compliance with animal welfare rules, and it has to be done antemortem examination, and live animals must not be allowed to see the animal being slaughtered, and knives are not sharpened near the animal to be slaughtered. And then the standing of ruminant, you have to for you have to cut through the respiratory passage, the two blood vessels, and the sign of death is in blood, and it has to be checked whether it is through post mortem, and then the packaging must be clean. Some abattoirs only do slaughterhouse and but doesn't do the packaging, so it has to be free and clean from the hygienic. In terms of storage, is the facilities and infrastructure only for halal slaughter. We were once visited the slaughterhouse in Australia. Once it is clean and clear, for so in domestic for domestic needs, they do it. It seems like your time is done. So in terms of distribution, the trucks will have to be separated, and then the cleansing must be done with Islamic regulation. And this is a new regulation about tariff. I'll just show it, and I'm not going to explain. Thank you, Pak Agus, for the presentation on the critical control points in the modern abattoir. The next one will be on the lesson learned from the technical assistance for application of ruminant slaughterhouse in Indonesia. Now, kindly show the slides, please. So he graduated from Queenstown University, and now he is mandated to be the head of the Halal certification slaughterhouse. So there are several things that we need to share for our lesson learned. First is why slaughterhouses needs to investigate it, because this is based on the government regulation 2024, and abattoir is the upstream. If the product is non-halal, or all products downstreams will be non-halal. For SMEs, so it will be difficult for them, despite the assistance for them to have the halal certificate for the needs of abattoir. So we need an oversight, halal oversight, and it has to practice a halal assurance system. But based on our experience, so when we did audit, it turns out that it's not only about halal slaughterhouse, but some of them don't have the establishment number or this regards hygiene and sanitation. And and only 20% of abattoir has the NKV and Halal certificate. So what is important now is that we also need to provide facilitation to have so that they can have the NKV, so that they can meet the requirements of sanitation and hygiene requirements. And some slaughterhouses haven't met the halal requirements, and some of the weaknesses is they don't have halal slaughterers. That's why we need to increase the number of the juleha or the halal slaughterers and halal supervisors. That's our joint responsibility. And next is, but we still have any animal slaughterhouses in such the areas that have not met halal hygienic and sanitation standards. That's why we need to convert them to be abattoirs, and we need to educate them about hygiene and sanitation so that they can get the NKV. And our suggestion is we need budget allocation to support them to increase the number of halal slaughterer and halal supervisor, and also to increase the number of NKV, and provide the facilitation for the abattoir. Some of the regional governments have already agreed. We have already collaborated with the Jakarta government and West Sumatra, Lampung, Bali for this, and West Java and Karawang. So this is a lesson learned for other provinces and districts in Indonesia. The next thing that we need, of course, is the assistance from the business. Good thing is that we have already had assistance from MLA to give training for halal supervisor and give technical assistance for halal certification. From these results, we have collaborated with MLA, and we have had 80 participants that have already got the certificate of competence to become halal abattoir. And we also have 100 in the MLA supply chain. And in terms of technical assistance, there are 9, and this is the form of cooperation.
So we are cooperating, and we have a gap analysis where we look at the actual conditions and what it should be. Then we provide guidance on how to implement the halal system, and we also provide training, awareness training, and we help them to develop a halal manual and help them to register in the C-Halal system. And we report the gap analysis to MLA and the necessary documents, and we have a mock-up audit. It's a kind of audit simulation to help them when they're being audited as abattoirs. Once they have gone through that, and then we do hope the process will be smoother, and there will be an audit by Sukovindo. Then you had 80 agencies, and they can help with that process. They will have the letter from the head of MUI, which will be the basis for issuing the halal certificate. This is the activities, as I mentioned before. We help them with the appropriate standards according to the conditions on the ground. We help them to prepare the SOP documents, halal manuals, and we have the mock-up or the audit simulation when they're being audited externally, and then they will receive. It will go through the audit smoothly, and we hope that they will be graded its excellence, the positive outcomes. So the abattoir will receive, this is a selling position because they will have advantages, and they are downstreaming part of the downstreaming system. They have their establishment number or NKV. For example, the Santijaya meat in Jonggol, they are able to expand to Java and Bali, and the Jala Yatra company has a restaurant selling its slaughter product, including frozen meat and steak. In summary, there are 4 obstacles in kind of the field: human resources. So there are many abattoirs that do not have halal slaughter, halal supervisor. Management doesn't understand about the product assurance system and how to gain the establishment number or veteran control number. And there's so Pa Yogi and Pa Agus, they don't know that there's an obligation for halal certification. So not many understand that. And most importantly, the lack of funding for training, competency tests, and certification of the abattoirs. So our advice to overcome these obstacles is to provide halal training for the slaughter and also for the halal system in the abattoir and slaughterhouses. We're ready to help, and also technical training for the abattoir, and also we are ready to that, and we need collaboration with the agency and everyone, and also subsidy for cost of training, for the competency test, and cost for the audit. So this requires our mutual cooperation, and we thank MLA for all their support. That's all for my presentation. I thank you for your attention. Now it is time to have our discussion. I don't think we have much time because we only had 1 hour, and we still have about 5 to 10 minutes for discussion. Maybe just one segment for Q&A. Let's go to questions. Do we have any questions? Don't hesitate to ask your questions if you have any. Yes, 1, 2, 1 more. Maybe we'll have 3 questions. Let's go with the 3 questions. Can you let us know to whom you're addressing your question so they can answer? Your name, your organization. Thank you, Paswar Amadit from IPB. I'm a student. I have a question for the agency. So if they don't have certification, what happens to the abattoirs? Are there any punishment for abattoirs that have not met the requirement until the end of the deadline because they are the so the Halal Product Assurance Agency, because these abattoirs are on the upstream, so they impact other industries? That's the first question. Thank you. Second question. Let's peace and mercy upon us all. Ari from Abattoir in Bogor. So I do have 2 questions regarding the standards. So some time ago, we were audited. The confusing thing was that they use either use SNI or HAS 3000 because some auditors still use HAS. So as a field operator, it's quite confusing for us to overcome this dualism of standards, first of all. And the next question. So there are some challenges for abattoirs because there's a lot of imported meat in circulation. So it's difficult for us to develop. So ultimately, there has to be other business units. So one of the examples, opportunities, is processing of blood, so turn into blood meal. The question is, abattoirs with a halal certificate from BPJPH, if we process a blood meal, are there other regulations? Is it allowed for us to do so? Because some time ago, we asked the Halal Product Assurance Agency or BPJPH. The information is that there are no regulations for this. So it is a gray area, to my knowledge, in Australia itself. There is processing of blood or the blood meal. So my question is that allowed for the abattoir to have halal certificate for slaughter, but they are also processing the blood into blood meal. Thank you. Thank you. So that's the two questions. So your question is about the standards used for the audit and the blood meal processing. Thank you. God's peace and mercy upon us all. Thank you, Pak Iwan. My question is for the Halal Production Agency. So once business operators take part in the training, the slaughtermen have taken part in the training as well, and the Halal Inspection Agency has a Sharia staff. Why is there an obligation when the Halal Inspection Agency is auditing the abattoir? Why do they have to include or also have personnel from the MUI? Because this is additional cost. It's a burden because I'm sure it's not being paid for by the Halal Inspection Agency. So it's a burden on the business operator. So why is this so? And if possible, let's delete this requirement. Thank you. God's peace and mercy upon us all. Thank you very much, ma'am. So to answer, Pak Yogi, first of all, the obligation for the House of Mayor for abattoirs in Asia, like the deadline was October 2024. The fact, as I said, as I presented, the fact is only 54%. And that's the data, those registered with the Ministry of Agriculture. And we look at the data in our C-Halal system, only 54% have halal certification. What about how will we continue this? So there is sanctions for this, and it's in tiers. First of all, there's a warning letter. Second, recall of products. So this abattoir if you can compare this to, so the recommendation to halt operations. Thirdly, the revocation of the halal certificate, but they don't even have the halal certificate yet, so that concept doesn't apply. And fourth is a fine of 2 billion. So there are administrative functions and criminal sanctions, but we've never applied the criminal sanctions for violations in the laws on halal product assurance. So for abattoirs, so in 2024, we conducted some supervision. We, first of all, tendered written warnings for abattoirs that do not have the halal certificate to apply for the halal certification within 60 days. Since we issue the warning letter to these abattoirs, so we are currently developing guidelines or regulation, halal product assurance agency decree on how to sanction business operators. And it includes what I've mentioned before. We do not have the authority to close down the abattoir operations. That falls within the domain of the local government who has issued the business permit. So we can only give recommendations to close the abattoir, but we very much hope that this does not happen. And we are hoping that the remaining 47% of abattoirs without halal certificate, that may include some of you here, we hope that you will apply immediately for your halal certification through the C-Halal application. So you do have to go through the regular pathway. Then we have the inspection process from the Halal Inspection Agency or LPH. That's all from me. Thank you. Bagus, is there anything you'd like to add? That's it. So let me help. So I don't think we answered the second question about the standards. The standard is actually SCH, so SNI comes from that because this is for halalness is the domain of the ulema. So SCH, so the standard comes from that. So when it comes to blood meal, so for human consumption, it is haram. But if it is for animal feed, it's fine. But within the context certification, these are two different scopes. One is within the scope of the abattoir, and the second is the processing scope. So it would have two different certifications. That's all I would like to add. So to add about the standard, there's only a single standard using law number from 2023 with the addition for more detail. And the decree 2023 HAS 3000 is no longer used for halal certification in Indonesia. That's an old scheme. And regarding the blood, because this is blood for feed, because humans cannot eat blood, it is not part of the food halal certification, and we do not have halal certification for feed. And we have received questions about feed, and we do not yet have halal certification for animal feed. So it can be, you can do so, but it's not part of the scope of the halal certification. Thank you for that, Pak Agus. So it's not allowed for food, and for feed, it does not need halal certification because animals are not obligated to eat halal food. So we have an hour. It is exactly 1400 hours, 2 p.m. So on behalf of the as a moderator, I thank you, Pak Yogi and Pak Agus, for your very useful presentation. I hope it is a blessing for us all. And thank you for your active participation. And we hope that the information over here is of benefit to you. I'll return the floor to our Master of Ceremonies. Thank you. Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing experience. Pak Yogi Pribadi and Pak Agus from Subkofindo, and Amada Professor Dr. Kaswar Samshu from Halal Science Center, IPB, for moderating. To show our appreciation, we'll invite the moderator to hand over to present the merchandise to our speakers. So let's give them a round of applause.
Boleh selanjutnya kepada Bapak Agus.
Next to Pak Agus. Another round of applause for Pak Agus Suryanto. And now, a token of appreciation to the moderator who has done an incredible job.
Boleh tepuk tangannya.
Big round of applause for Professor Kaswar Samsu for moderating.
Baik, para panelis dan juga
to our panelists, and I want to thank you for the discourse. And we respectfully and kindly ask you to return to your seats. Round of applause for our panelists. And now we would like to inform you that you can scan the QR code. This is the material, the PowerPoints and the material presented today will remind you and will ask you to document all the fun you've had today. We have hashtags and mention at LEP Expo.
Audience, you can check our social media on Instagram at LEP_Expo and post your story by using our template, and don't forget to check our Instagram.